makes me sound ancient, but sons and daughters, that shit was amazing. Can we take it back to 95? Before we had this drama in our lives, just staring at the screen every day and night. I miss the rush of living in real life. Go get your DeLorean. Go get your DeLorean. Yo, what you got in that bag? Candy, cigarettes, and a Playboy mag. Many used to have to work for that. Wait for me, gotta dial up. Can't call my landline cause it's all tied up. Just bike over then. Oh, oh, oh.
Look at me, take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. Look at me, take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. If you want the truth, don't close your eyes. We got our back against the wall, we gotta fight back. I need a theme song, this the right track. I ain't got no cape or no superpowers, just confidence and self-esteem, the world is ours. I believed in me when nobody didn't. This ain't no freestyle, just some facts that's written. Come on, let's hear it for the boy. He bringing pain at the same time, joy. I bob and weave through the crowd, so untouchable. At first they hate, then they loving you. It's a crazy cycle, but I'm going through it. I wish I was lying, that's why I show and prove it. I'm destined to be one of the best to do it. I ain't saying I'm the GOAT, but I'm closer to it. I should get a statue in the front yard. Man, I'm shooting up my stats like a shooting guard. Look at me, take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. Look at me, take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. If you want the truth, don't close your eyes. I'll give it to you in 3D or even play by play. I'm your guest announcer, are you here today? Yo, let me get a show of hands if you rockin' with me. Ain't no stopping us now, we bout to bounce quickly. I'm about to start a movement, put your fist up. Everything all black from the wrist up, yeah. Leather gloves, no prints, what? We about to dip, deep cut, yeah. Now bring it back like a boomerang. Who that man, do that thing, coming through like Buddha Bang. Setting booby traps for girls and goofy cats. Hog tied and handcuffed through in the back. Zip locked and sealed up and tossed away. I don't know about your future, but it's bad today. I'm a prophet and a guru and the rap police. You in the belly of the beats, masterpiece. Look at me, take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. Look at me, take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. If you want the truth, don't close your eyes.
I feel like I'm afraid to say how I feel, to know I let you down. 'Cause late nights turn to days. Don't wanna let you down. With each breath we give away, it'll never be the same. I'm chasing somebody who won't ever ease the pain, but I don't want half of your heart, heart, heart. You can have it back if it's only half of your heart. If it's only half of your heart. I feel like I'm afraid are the only things I can't change. I live life on a page that was written too long ago. I don't want half of your heart, heart, heart. You can have it back if it's only half of your heart. If it's only half of your If it's only half of your heart. If it's only half, but I don't want half of your heart, heart, heart. You can have it back if it's only half of your heart.
Today is gonna be a little something more. I've got a plan in mind, a special thing in store. The light bulb inside my head says, get out and play, 'cause you never feel this way. It's my lucky day, it's my lucky day. It's my lucky day, my lucky day. Don't need a pot of gold, a rabbit's foot or to be told. It's my lucky day, it's my lucky day. Slept in 'cause I don't care and didn't make the bed. Sip coffee on my couch, what can I do instead? No work, it's only fun, 'cause it's all okay. 'Cause you never feel this way. It's my lucky day, it's my lucky day. It's my lucky day, my lucky day. Don't need a pot of gold, a rabbit's foot or to be told. It's my lucky day.
Hey, I got a confession. Been losing all momentum. Just because it's easy, well, that don't make it better. I wanna dig my hands deep down in the dirt. Take a walk along the street if I'm feeling dessert. All of this convenience just doesn't work for me. I wanna play with fire, let me get hurt. Can we take it back to 95? Before we had this drama in our lives, just staring at the screen every day and night. I miss the rush of living in real life. Go get your DeLorean. Oh, I miss the summers with you and never swipe left to right. I snuck in your window, no friend request, no, just spent the night. I had to walk right up to your locker and risk you saying, boy, just don't bother. I know this all just makes me sound ancient, but sons and daughters, that shit was amazing. Can we take it back to 95? Before we had this drama in our lives, just staring at the screen every day and night. I miss the rush of living in real life. Go get your DeLorean. Go get your DeLorean. Yo, what you got in that bag? Candy, cigarettes, and a Playboy mag? Many used to have to work for that. Wait for me, gotta dial up. Can't call my landline cause it's all tied up. Just bike over then. Oh, oh, oh. Can we take it back to 95? Before we had this drama in our lives, just staring at the screen every day and night. I miss the rush of living in real life.
Look at me, take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. Look at me, take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. If you want the truth, don't close your eyes. We got our back against the wall, we gotta fight back. I need a theme song, this the right track. I ain't got no cape or no superpowers, just confidence and self-esteem, the world is ours. I believed in me when nobody didn't. This ain't no freestyle, just some facts that's written. Come on, let's hear it for the boy. He bringing pain at the same time, joy. I bob and weave through the crowd, so untouchable. At first they hate, then they loving you. It's a crazy cycle, but I'm going through it. I wish I was lying, that's why I show and prove it. I'm destined to be one of the best to do it. I ain't saying I'm the GOAT, but I'm closer to it. I should get a statue in the front yard. Man, I'm shooting up my stats like a shooting guard. Look at me, take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. Look at me, take a picture, it'll last longer. The mirror on the wall say I'm getting stronger. Ayo, the mirror don't lie. If you want the truth, don't close your eyes. I'll give it to you in 3D or even play by play. I'm your guest announcer, are you here today? Yo, let me get a show of hands if you rockin' with me. Ain't no stopping us now, we bout to bounce quickly. I'm about to start a movement, put your fist up. Everything all black from the wrist up, yeah. Leather gloves, no prints,
we are live.
We
Let
about
me just
to
cut the
dip,
music.
deep cut, yeah.
1 second. I got that. There we go. And we are live. We are ready for a system build today. This is system build number 17, and it has a graphic card, so it's going to be a little bit longer one. We're going to also install the operating system and load the BIOS since I created the disk. So let's get started. Let me show you what we're going to need first before we start. Let me bring the overhead over and switch to it. Hopefully everybody can hear me. My microphone kind of died on me, so that's why I'm using this one, so hopefully you can understand me. If you can't, let me know in chat. I will try to adjust it. Okay, overhead. We're going to need a knife. You're going to need a USB flash drive. You're going to need a wire clipper. You're going to also need a screwdriver of some sorts. Doesn't have to be electric. You can use any screwdriver. Some wire ties, and you will probably need a small screwdriver for installing the SSD. Let me also put myself up here, which I'm not. There I am. Okay. Yes, we can hear you. Awesome. Thank you for letting me know, because this microphone is a little different. So, all right. Let's put this off to the side. We're going to start with a few different things. Right now, this is an Intel build, so it's an Intel i5, 12th gen. We have DDR4 memory for this, which is 16 gigabytes of RAM, and a 1 terabyte hard drive, as well as a graphic card, which is, we went with the MSI Gaming RTX 3050. Of course, this is not really a gaming unit. It is for something else, but that is fine. It will work. Motherboard, we went with an ASRock H610M-HVS. It's kind of a just standard motherboard, nothing really too fancy, but good enough for our everyday needs. And a good Corsair power supply, CX650M, which is probably a little overkill, but since we have a graphic card in this build, it is better to be a little overkill than underkill. I'm going to put a few, going to rearrange things a little bit here. I'm going to move that over there. And we're going to start with the motherboard and start installing stuff. So motherboard itself, let's take it out of the box. Let's also move this out of camera. And I'm going to use this, and I'm going to move this just a tad bit that way. I'll move forward. Okay. So, motherboard comes with, obviously, a motherboard manual, some SATA cables, which we are not going to use, the dreaded I/O shield itself, which is going to go in the case, a motherboard CD drivers, which we are not going to use because we're going to grab the new ones online. The manual is good for just a few things like basic layout, understanding of memory and RAM that you need, as well as hard drive and all that stuff. So if you want, you can read it, but if you don't, you can just follow along. So motherboard box, just gonna put this back in here. We're gonna build on top of the box, just so we have a little bit of a surface. There we go. Because I ruined enough of these desk pads, and we don't need to do that. Just gonna take this out. Sorry about the noise. Garbage. Okay. So, motherboard itself, we've got the CPU socket, RAM sockets. To get a little closer here, I'm going to show all the smaller stuff, and I'll show the smaller stuff in a minute. This is going to be your, obviously, your 12-pin connector, your 24-pin connector on this side, as well as your graphic card slot, which is only one on this board. If you are having any other peripherals, you may have a problem with putting another card in here. If you do need another card, you only have one extra additional slot, and it's kind of close to the other slots, so it might be a little difficult. Now that I'm looking at this, I don't see an NVMe socket, and I'm not sure why. That's bad. So we're already starting off and I'm already missing something. PCIe 1. Am I just blind? Okay. All right, well, we're going to build, and I'm going to just take a look and see where it is. If it's not in here, then we'll have to add it later. And we'll just build it with a regular drive and we will replace it later if that is the case. I don't see an NVMe socket for whatever reason. This board does not have one, which is shocking and not so shocking. All right, let's continue. So let's start with the CPU installation. Basically, you're going to lift this little bracket, you're going to lift this over, and you're going to pop out the little protector. Just be careful to save the protector if you're going to reuse your motherboard. Let's open up the CPU and not cut my fingers. There we go. All right. Well, thank you for telling me that you can hear me. That's great. If there's something wrong with the microphone, just let me know if there's issues, please. Thank you. Manual, we don't need it. Just going to grab the CPU at this point, which is in its little clamshell here. Let's get that out. Now with this, you got to be very careful. You don't want to touch the bottom of this and scratch it all up. So what you're going to do is you're going to open it from the top. The silver side obviously goes up. The pin side goes down. And I say pin side, but really it's the pads. There's no pins anymore. So the pads are just going to go downwards. And let's see here. You're going to match the arrow on the processor, which the little arrow is on this side. And on this side, you'll see it's a very, very small little arrow that we've got. That arrow has to compensate, it has to match the arrow that is on the motherboard, which is pinned out towards the left over here, I think. If you can see it. Oh boy. This board is very crappy in the aspect of labeling things. Yeah, that should be left side. Where's the arrow on it? Oh, there's the arrow. Oh, it's really, really small inside the socket. So just lay it down. Once you have it laid down, just basically put the protector over it and push down. And this should just latch in underneath. Be careful with your fingers. Do not get your fingers stuck in there. And what you want to do now is put the CPU cooler on. The CPU cooler comes with pre-applied thermal paste. That should be fine for this application. It doesn't come with a lot, it just comes with enough. So this is the CPU cooler itself. You're going to see there's little feet. Those feet are going to correspond to these little holes here on the motherboard. And you're going to push these directly in. We're going to take this apart here a little bit. Turn this to the left. Just to orient the power plug more towards where the power plug is going to go. And just lay it into the little holes. Let it drip in, it should go right in. Now what you want to do is push in on one side and then go to the opposite corner. You should hear a click. Should click in on the other side, and click that side. This side is not wanting to click. Oh, that's clicked. Okay. To double check if it's clicked down, you can flip over the motherboard and you should be able to see the feet on this side and push through to make sure that the heatsink and fan are connected correctly. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to take this, we're just going to plug this straight directly into the one that says CPU fan, which is the first one here. And I'm going to plug that in. RAM is next. We're going to install that. We're just going to go in these two sockets here, make sure it's open before you install. Open the packaging. And they only go one direction. So just double check the notch to make sure the notch is actually in the center. We take these out. If they are Corsair memory, sometimes they have this little plastic cover on it. Be sure to take the plastic cover off. Take that off. And it's just going to lay into the socket. Just make sure you have it the right way. Line it up. it should line up with the notch in the middle. This notch here is the notch that I'm talking about, and the notch that is on the motherboard. So you're just going to line that up, and then you're just going to slide it into the socket. That's it. Repeat the step for the second stick of RAM. This is DDR4 memory, so you'll want to do this in pairs. If you go to DDR5 memory, you don't need to go to pairs because DDR5 doesn't require a second stick for it to work that way. So if you go DDR5, you won't need to do that. You can just get one stick if you want, and it'll be the same thing as dual channel mode. But if you want to use DDR4, you will need 2 sticks to get dual channel mode. Just garbage. Plastic, more garbage. More garbage. Okay. All right, so yep, that's installed. So that's all we really have to do for the motherboard at the current time, since there's no NVMe socket, which is a darn shame. I'm not sure why this one doesn't come with an NVMe socket, so we'll have to look at that a little later. Right now, we'll get the build done with a different drive, but the customer will probably need to switch the board out for that to a different board because this doesn't have one, which is weird. I could have swore when we went through all this, we did check it. Weird. All right, anyways, moving on. So, at this point, it's ready to go into the case. So we're gonna take this and move this off to the side. Let's get that out of here. Let's move this off to the side for now. And we'll get the case out. The case we're using is a Thermaltake H610. Sorry, the overhead's a little crappy because you can't really see this from this angle, but I'm just going to take the side panels off and we can get a better look in the inside. This has kind of been the same case we've been using for a while. This is not really all that fancy. It's more of a business line case. It doesn't have a fancy window or anything. It is literally just all solid metal, or pressed steel probably. Okay, so before I start anything, they always have the wires and cables and everything here that we need on the back, so we're just going to take this off first. This is the back. Well, actually, one of the side panels of the case. I'll take that off. This is the little screw bag that we're going to need with all the little screws to put the motherboard in, as well as a whole bunch of other equipment. Okay. So there's just some cable ties and some screws. I'm going to put the screws up to the side for now. We'll go through the screws in a few minutes. I'm just going to take these wires, kind of move them a little bit out of the way, get them back into like a better position down here for just now, just so they're out of the way, so I can flip this back over and install the motherboard. Power supply would go down here. This is the bottom part of the case. This is the back part of the case where the power supply would mount towards. Fan would mount downwards for the power supply, so it would mount into this mesh area. We're going to flip it back over though, and we're going to put the motherboard in. Okay, so this side's a little, sorry, it's a little sideways here. This way, there we go. So before I do anything, you got to put the IO shield in. The IO shield is very important to put in first. So let's do that. Garbage this. And take the IO shield, you're going to just, it has all these little metal pieces, you're just going to push them up and out of the way if they are in your way. Just be very careful with your fingers. If you are not careful, you'll end up cutting yourself, so just be careful not to do that. It does have little symbols on what each little port means. They're, you know, USB and HDMI and VGA, etc. So we're just going to take this and plug this straight over to the back part of the case. So we have a spot to throw this into. Should just pop in place. Shouldn't have to push too hard, but just be careful also because that is very sharp, so you may end up cutting your fingers if you're not too careful, and that would be bad. I'm just going to push the little power connector for the fan out of the way. And now we're going to line up the motherboard with the mounts that are down here. Those mounts are going to match the holes that are on this motherboard, so you're going to make sure that these all line up before you install the board. This is a very small board. It doesn't really require many changes. In fact, actually it requires no changes. So we should just be able to slide this straight in and then screw down a few contact points for the board. And hopefully it'll all line up. There we go. Now, there's going to be screws that came with the case. That's obviously those screws that we're going to be using. So we're going to look for the ones that are not part of the hard drives. They are labeled, and this one's for the motherboard. This has got all of the screws for the motherboard. So we're just going to take this and lay it out. Come on. And we're going to use the small screws that are these really small screws that are for the motherboard, very thin type, and they are a certain type, but you can just take a look at it and say, okay, that's the right one. So this is going to go basically and screwed into every one of the holes for the motherboard itself. Let me go back here. There we go. That's going to be in all of these little sections here. Now, what you want to do is make sure you count up the amount of screws that you're supposed to be using for this. So, you know, if you have 4 stand-ups that are on the bottom, you should match 4 screws that you are screwing in. Okay, just give it a little wiggle, make sure that the board doesn't move. You know, don't pull too hard, you don't pull anything off, but just enough to make sure that it's in place. What we're going to do is we're going to do all these front panel connectors before we get to the graphic card, because the graphic card we kind of like do last over here. Graphic card we will probably be doing last, just because it will cover up all of these connectors on the bottom, and we don't want to cover that up before we start finishing everything that we should be doing for the front panel and for any connections for a drive or anything else. So what we're going to do, we're just going to get the wiring done, we're going to get the power supply done, and then we'll finally put the graphic card in. And we'll do the hard drive also, which we may have to use a different drive. We'll figure that out shortly. Okay, so we'll flip this back over the other way. And, okay. So, front panel connectors. These are all the front panel connectors. You're going to have ones for your power switch, your reset switch, your hard drive light, and your power light. They are all labeled. There you go. Reset switch, HDD, which is hard drive. You're going to have one that says power switch, and you should have one that is power LED. There you go. So all of those are labeled. Those are going to be connected in. You'll see that the ones that are LEDs, like your power LED, that is going to have a positive and a negative. You're going to make sure to plug those in the correct way or the light's not going to work. So double check to make sure your lights are working. If they aren't, then flip it around because obviously you plugged it in the wrong way. Those are going to plug into the motherboard and the front panel headers, which we're going to do now. But let me just also show, this is your HD audio, I think. Yeah, it's actually labeled. Very hard to read. It says HD audio. And then this one is your USB, and it is labeled USB. That's USB 2. This is USB 3.0, which looks entirely different. And that is a blue connector with smaller pins. That will go to the front part of the board. This will go over here. We're just going to throw them into the slots that we need to basically use them in. Should be here. And these should go down below. Come up. There, I think. And I think this one comes up here. There are holes in this case to make it a little easier to get from the back panel to the front panel. I recommend you use them so that at least this way you have them in the correct spot when you flip the case over. So I'm going to flip back, and hopefully I got this in the right spots. If I don't, I will be redoing them. All right, let me move this over. Okay. There we go. So, first, let's get the 3.0 connector out of the way, which is this big blue one. That's going to go right here in this socket. It should be keyed only one direction. I can't see it that way. It's keyed in one direction, so we could just push it down into the socket. It should go gently. You shouldn't have to give it too much force. It should just pop in. Next, you're going to do the front panel connectors, which are that is speaker, panel 1. Yeah, not liking this motherboard for the labeling. Usually there's really small labels to help you. Oh, here it is. And it is, it's labeled here. It's just really, really small, and it's this connection here. So we're just gonna follow it. It's labeled, it tells you which ones are which. And in this case, it is following kind of the same layout as everybody else. So HDD, hard drive light, positive, negative, positive, negative. If you want a larger diagram of this, you can check the manual. The manual should have a larger version that you can actually read. This one is a little bit of a pain. Reset switch is next to it. Or maybe I'm getting old, and that would be bad. But we're not going to admit that. So we're just going to say that this is just really poorly labeled. So positive, negative, and that's the power LED, and then I get the power switch. By the way, the switches don't really matter which direction you go, but if you want, you can follow along and keep it the same direction as the LEDs. You know, for consistency if you want. Oh, come on. Get on there, there we go. And then we want power switch. Plug that in. All right. USB header for USB 2.0 is going to plug into the one that says USB 2.0 if it exists, which it does, and it is in the front. Is it really? All right, I'm gonna have to move that one. HD audio, which is plugged in towards the back here. It is also labeled HD audio. That's how I know. All right, so the USB 2.0 is over here. So I'm not going to plug that in over here. That doesn't make any sense. I'm going to rerun the wire back, and we're going to go the opposite way and just slide this up and underneath over, actually over here. You get in there. There we go. Slide that there, and that's going to go directly in the USB connector. Okay, that's plugged in, and yeah, it's ready to go. So I'll push this back a little bit. We're going to do the power supply next, and we're going to also, we have to also plug in the back exhaust fan. The back exhaust fan should go onto the motherboard somewhere where it says chassis fan, which is not where, it's not over here anywhere, which kind of is horrible. It's over here. All right, well, that might be long enough to bring it up and back. We might be able to do an up and back. Nothing is ever in the spot that we want it to be. Can we actually go up and back? Yeah, we should be able to reach it. So we'll go back here. We're going to run it to the back part of the case and bring it over here just because it looks a little nicer. But I'm going to have to put this upwards to get to that. I apologize that you won't be able to really see this too much. Okay, so what I basically did was run the wire back behind the motherboard, well, behind the case, the second side of the case, and then ran it up and back around up into here, and then I basically plugged it into the header, so it avoids going across the CPU area and the fan. Why is this so loose? Yeah, that's not supposed to be that loose. Not liking that. It's a little loose. Aha, it wasn't clicked in all the way. All right, there we go. Kind of figured. The CPU fan wasn't clicked in all the way. You know, if one of the poles are a little loose, which this brings up a really good point. Sometimes these stupid fans that come with the processor itself, the stock cooler is really what we call it. If this one of the posts are a little loose, just push it down or turn it a little bit and then push it down to make sure it clicks into place. After it's clicked in place, you should be good to go. Let's do power supply at this point. That wire is nicely hidden. This wire is over there. We'll pull these all back in a few minutes after we get the power supply in. Power supply is going to go, let me try to get this on camera. Sorry, it's going to be upside down. There's just no way of doing this without right side up. So all of these are going to be that way. Power supply is going to go here. This is going to be the back of the case. We're going to screw in the power supply on this side. Fan's going to go down to the bottom of the case because this has a filter, and we want to take advantage of that. So let's get the power supply out. Okay. Ah. Okay, what comes with the power supply is some more wire ties, the screws, a manual, which we won't need. We will need the cabling, power supply itself. Box we don't need. And let's take this out. This is a semi-modular power supply. It's not fully modular. So what does that mean? In short, it means that you should never lose your cables, number one. Number two, it means that some of the cables are plugged in and some of the cables are not. So the main cables for like the motherboard are already part of the power supply, but you'll see here that there are connectors for the actual PCI Express, for the CPU, and there's also for the graphic card itself, SATA connections and PATA connections. They're all labeled, just don't mismatch them. You shouldn't be able to anyway because I think they're keyed one direction, so you should be only plugging into whatever one that you need. In this case, we're going to plug in the ones for SATA as well, just because we're going to have to load a test SATA drive since this motherboard doesn't have an NVMe socket. And I'm going to probably have to change the motherboard later because for whatever reason it didn't have one. And I have a feeling it was a revision number problem, but I'll have to check that later. Anyway, let's continue. I'm already complaining enough about that. So let's get the cables out. We got some cables. Plastic. All right. CPU. It's obviously labeled CPU. So it's going to go down to your CPU. This side's going to go to your power supply. We're going to plug that in, obviously. We're going to plug in one of these that are a SATA connection, just for a SATA hard drive temporarily. You also have some Molex connectors. These are rarely ever used at this point, so we're just going to put this off to the side, and we'll probably put in the case. There is a floppy connector still. I don't understand why they still can include this stupid connector, but it is there. There's also ones that are labeled PCIe. This is clear, there we go. Ones that are labeled PCIe, this is going to your graphic card. That's going to plug into your graphic card itself. We will need one connection, so we will need this cable. And we just have another one for some more SATA connections. We're gonna put that off to the side. But for now, we're gonna plug in these 3 cables into the power supply so we're ready to go. And we will also untangle that. Now, why do I say plug these in now? Because after you get this in place, it's going to be a lot harder to reach in there and actually plug something in. Now, with this case, you'll probably have no problem because there's a very empty open space here. But some cases will not have an empty space and you will have a harder time plugging these in. If you're unsure, you could still plug them all in and just not use the ones you don't want to use and just leave them bundled up at the bottom. But that kind of defeats the purpose of a modular power supply, is to get rid of more cable, is, you know, to have more or less cables. So we're gonna plug in the PCI Express one into one that says PCI Express. I just lost the cable down there, didn't I? Yes, I did. So flip this over. And we're going to find the one that says PCI Express. Actually, it says CPU and PCI Express, so it should be either one is fine. We're just going to plug into the first one. They're both the same power connection. It's the same amount of power. Well, not really the same amount of power, but you'll be pulling different amounts of power, but it's still the 12 volt rail. It's still the same 12 volt voltage connection, so that's still the same. Now, there's a little bit of confusion here. You'll see that this CPU one, labeled CPU, also has 8 pins. So be sure the one that doesn't have any label on it, the side that doesn't have a label on it goes to the power supply. The side that has a label will actually go to the motherboard. So be sure to plug those the correct direction. Again, don't lose your cables, because if you lose your cables, you're gonna have to contact the manufacturer of your power supply to get your cables. You can't go using someone else's cables. It doesn't work that way. You'll end up destroying your power supply, or worse yet, maybe some other problems like a fire or something like that. So just be very careful not to plug in different cables from a different power supply. Be sure you always use the ones that come with the actual power supply. Last one we're going to plug in is the SATA connection. I'm not sure if you can see that. That's just a square SATA connection. We're just going to plug that one into anything that says PATA or SATA. Let's plug it straight in. We'll just use it right next to this one, just because it's there. All right. Now pull these cables back. We're going to take the fan side, and we're going to put the fan to the bottom of the case. This is the bottom of the case, so that's where it's going to go. It's going to slide down into here. Be very careful not to drop the power supply. Layer it in, and it should screw in from the back. Gotta get the screws. Screws did come with the power supply, and it did come with some cable ties. We'll use those as well. So I'll put this over here. All right. The screws that they're using, it definitely says 4PSU, which is for power supply unit. That's what that stands for, which is nicely labeled, just in case you make a mistake and you throw your screws all around the place, you can at least find out which ones go where. Now, this is a little tricky on this angle because, unfortunately, it's on the side and it's going to be really difficult to do this way, but I'm going to show you how to screw this in on the side. But if you are doing this yourself, you may want to lift the unit up and put it straight up and down so you're not fighting gravity like I'm about to do. And if I don't do it this way, you guys aren't going to see anything. It's not going to be very exciting. So, and I still can't put this in. Yep. Yep. Just line up. I'm gonna have to turn it. No other choice. Oh, it does line up. It's just I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to that. There we go. Should be 4 screws. Yeah. Okay. And last one. Done. All right, power supply is in place. Don't worry about the label being upside down. No one's going to see it anyway. It's more important that the fan goes the right direction than having the fan the wrong direction. So, and did I put the right? Yes, I put it the right direction. Just double checking. All right. So we're going to find the one that says CPU. This is PCI Express. One that says CPU. This should be CPU. This says CPU. So we're going to take this and we're going to put this up in the upper left corner here, which you cannot see. It's off camera. Okay. It is going to go in this upper left corner because the motherboard on this side is where it's going to plug into. So we're just going to slide that in place. And for the 24-pin connector, which I did not undo down here, just going to take that little twist tie thing off. Don't use these twist tie things. Don't leave them in the case because they got metal in them. You will have a problem with your case if they get shredded off at any point in time. Silicone packet? Garbage. All right. Huh. Oh, it already has a CPU one. All right, so we didn't need to do that. We'll unplug the other CPU one because obviously this one's already plugged into the board and we don't need another cable. So luckily it's the one on top, so I don't have to go crazy. I can still plug it. There we go. Take that off, and we'll use the one that it's already attached. And it says CPU. We're going to put that in the upper left corner again. Put it back, and then we're going to take this one, which is the 24-pin, and that goes to the motherboard over here. I think over here. I think. So we'll pop that in there. And we are also going to need the PCI Express connection to come up to the graphic card. So to do that, we will use one of the bottom holes and just push it up through there instead, and hopefully not break anything. Hopefully it can be reached. Did I get the right hole? Yeah, okay. Just throw it in there for now. What the hell are we stuck on? We're a little stuck. It's all right. And why we're stuck is because the wire decided to come apart there. That's fine. That's okay. Just need to feed it up. All right, I'm going to feed all the wire on this side for now just to get everything on one side, and then I'm going to push all the connections down. So to see the connections, got the wire through. The only thing I was doing before was just getting the wires through the proper holes. So just push that through, and we'll also push this back to connect that into the 24-pin. 24 pins right here. It's the only one that is 24 pins. So just plug it in. It should there is a clip on this side. This clip should fall into this slot there, and it should hold on. It should line up. It is keyed only to go one way, so it shouldn't fit any other way. If it does, then you are doing something wrong, and don't do that. If I can line it up. Come on, Brian. You got this. There you go. All right, that's plugged in. CPU, same thing. It's got a clip, and that clip lines up with this little shelfie thing piece there. There we go, and just throw it in there. Good. Of course, everything has to be black. You can hardly see black on black on black. There we go. I'm going to pull all these cables back when we're done. But for now, actually we can do that. let's pull back and start doing wire tying, because the graphic card is going to go last and it's going to make it a little more complicated to do that. We're going to have to get this cable to kind of push either underneath this graphic card or push to the side out of the way of the socket. This is very poorly designed here. Maybe I want to go the other way. Yeah, you know what's fine. It should go underneath the graphic. That should fit. If it doesn't fit, then we're going to have to unplug the HD audio and go around the other way. That's not a big deal, but it is just kind of stupid looking. Yeah, I'm okay with it. It's fine for now. So let's pull back some cables. Let's flip this back over and tie some cables down and pull some cables back. And the SATA cables are on the back because the SATA cables, the SATA hard drive will go on the back. We're going to do a SATA hard drive just for temporary use anyway. We will have to change some things out later to get the better performing drive. But for now purposes, we're going to just tie everything down and get everything in the proper spots. Let's tie it up. So this tie down, we're just basically throwing down some zip ties onto the little holders that are here. Just try to pull the cables back gently and, take up the slack that was from the other side. If you have a hard time getting these zip ties into the little holders or tie down spots, just bend them a little bit. And when you bend them up a little bit, you'll get a little curvature to it so it slides underneath the hook correctly. Again, pull the cable, zip it down. You want all the excess cable. Hold on a second. You want all the excess cable to be in this lower cavity here. That's the kind of the point of this, is to kind of bring everything down and away from, parts that spin or get hot. So you don't want to have any of those parts get interrupted. Just going to tie this one down here. I always believe that you can always just have one more cable tying. And everybody that's ever worked on one of the computers that I've ever built, they will know that I am never shy about using 50,000 cable ties, because it is better to have the cable nicely managed than to have a mess everywhere. So let's, now of course everybody's going to disagree with me, but that's fine. You can be wrong on your time. I'm just kidding. It doesn't really matter either way. It just, as long as the cables are neatly positioned, you should be fine. Let's cable tie the other side. All right, this is not coming down. Come on. There we go. Just get the wires in a position so that they're nicely down, and then just tie it in. I'm gonna probably use the SSD here, or I may do an SSD over there. Oh, there's another one I can tie that to. We'll do that. Tie this here. It's better to tie things down before you get the graphic card in there, because once you get the graphic card in there, you're not going to have access to a lot of the board. So it's going to be a little more difficult to achieve, and to get everything looking correctly, you're going to have a lot harder time. So let's pull the main power cord, the 24-pin forward, and again slide in underneath brackets, tie down, whatever. Pull this straight up and over. That one's gonna be a little weird. All right, well, that's fine. It's gonna have to get into this side here, and we're gonna tie these all up. That's enough. That's enough. Okay. Pretty straightforward. One more to go. And we can just start clipping all of these tails. Get the tails off of there. All right. Okay with that. Yeah, that's going to be for the temporary drive. And we're going to cut these off. So we're just going to take this, cut off all the tails. Yeah, I don't need that. It's garbage. All right, this wire, that's okay. All right, so that's all clipped down. Right now we're gonna now put the graphic card in, and then we got a hard drive to put in. Actually, we might put the cable in first. Let's do a SATA cable for right now. We said we're not gonna use these, but we have no choice because the board doesn't have PCI Express, which is so weird. Again, very odd. So I'm just gonna take one of the straight SATA connections. So it's just a SATA cable. I'm going to take a SATA hard drive, connect it up temporarily. That is over here, I think. I'll double check if that is. Yeah. We're going to put the drive back here though, just so that it's out of the way. Let's flip this back over. I think I have the correct grommets. Let's see. It was SATA 3, SATA. So I'm reading on the board just to see which one's the SATA first. It doesn't really matter actually which one I plug it into. I think I'm going to plug it into the one facing this way, so it makes more sense for us. Power's on the other end. So we're ready for the graphic card. So we're gonna have to open up these two sockets here, put the graphic card in, and lift this dumb thing that they install for holding the graphic card down, which is just stupid. I don't think this really does anything. This little piece. I don't know if I can get this out. I'll show you guys. Yeah, this is this little dumb metal thing. This can't leave it out though, unfortunately, because it looks bad, but it is kind of dumb, like, to have this. Like, I don't understand why they did that when really you don't really need that. Let me get the graphic card out and make sure I have the proper sockets, slots for the back. This is a GeForce RTX 3050. It's pretty decent. Now, of course, this says gaming on it. I mean, this is a business computer, so it's not really going to be used for gaming, but the gaming cards are a little less expensive than using a Quadro card or something like that. And for what they're using it for, this is not really needed for a Quadro card. Quadro cards are really for more higher end stuff that they would need to do, but this is not that case. The box is more packaging than really needed. I really hate these packages. It's totally a lot of junk. I don't know if the card's this large. Yeah, see, like, they give you like a manual. I mean, really. All right, so card, let's take that out. The card itself, we put the box over there just in case something's wrong. This card is a very long card, but it is still a, well, I guess it's like a 2.5 socket card. Let's be real, it's a 3 socket card. It's not really 2.5. It says 2.5, but you really can't get anything underneath this card anyway, so I don't understand why they don't just say 3. Anyway, to be sure to take off the plastic piece covering the PCI Express socket, because you really don't want this in there. Just be sure to take that off. Power is on this side, which we will be plugging in that other connector which came off the motherboard. That will be there. And yeah, it's got a nice back plate. You know, it's metal. It's cool. Does it have plastic on here? Ugh, I can never tell. It's like plastic. You know, I don't want to take the sticker off, but come on. I feel like there's plastic over this. Oh, man. Or am I peeling a sticker off? Oh, no, that is the way it is. It looks like there's plastic, though. Maybe it's just very shiny. No, there's no plastic. It's just very, very shiny. Okay, so this is going to go into that socket here on the motherboard, which is the only one it would fit into. It does have a locking clip, so make sure the locking clip is in the open position before you push that down. This cable is just going to go kind of underneath here without getting poked, hopefully. Yeah, we have enough room there, so it should be all right. And that room is going to be right here, this little cutout. So we're going to line this up with these two sockets. It's going to line up with this, it's going to line up with this one and that one. So we're going to take these two out. You don't need to take the third one out. The third one, it just kind of like levels over a little bit. It's fine. Let's just take these two and should I keep the screws? So just take the little plates out. You can keep these just in case you decide to take your graphic card out. You'll have something to put it back. Now, we're going to push these wires down and out of the way. Hopefully they won't get totally screwed up. And we will go for it. Let's line this up the right way. I'm going to line it up at the back of the unit. All right. I forgot that they have these little plastic covers. You got to take these little plastic covers off the ports because it will lock up the ports. You can put these back after, like if you're not going to use some of these ports and you want to just keep it from getting dust, you can put those little covers back in. It won't hurt anything, but it's just in the way right now of the back from clearing, and I can't see what I'm doing. That's not a good thing. Yep. Okay. Let me just get a little bit of movement on this so I can see what I'm doing. Making sure I'm lining it up. You want to line up the graphic card with the slot, of course. And once it's lined up, you want to give it a little push and it should click into place, which it just did. I don't think you guys can hear the little click noise that I made, but you're going to have to trust me on that one. It did make a little click noise. So now what you're going to do is you're going to screw back in the back into the actual back part of the system so it stays in place and it won't move on you, which is always important. And oh yeah, I don't even know if this would fit. See, that little piece that I took out, actually, I don't think will fit with this graphic card because this graphic card has an extra metal piece of shroud that goes forward. Trying to see if this would fit underneath, but I don't think it's going to. All right. Well, how bad does it look? No, it looks horrible. Nope. I will take the card back out and see if I can try to fit that in there somehow. And it's not my fun part of the day because now I got to go backwards, right? So to get this card out, you have to unlatch the safety lock, which is hard to push and I can't see it from that angle, so I'm going to have to lift it up. But you need to push that down to unlatch it, and then you should be able to pull the card straight out. Be sure to always unlatch that safety lock before you try to remove your graphic card, or you may damage your motherboard, and that would be bad. Let's put this stupid metal piece back in. This is worse than the I/O shield at this point. It's just in my way. It's the most dumbass looking plastic thing I've ever seen in my life, but what else is new? Let's put it back in. Where's that metal screw? This sliding thing. I think they just made this to drive me nuts. They could have just left this a big metal solid piece over here. I don't understand why they did this, but somebody else could probably tell me, and there'll probably be a reason, and I'll still tell you probably why there shouldn't be. So let's put this back in place and drive myself nuts getting that underneath that little flap. And yep, there we go. Ooh, first time for that. Okay, so let's line this up and slide it back in place. Graphic card's down, push it in, you should hear a click. Yep, okay. And we're gonna just put the little cover over this. Oh, this cover is so stupid. How do they expect you to do this? Thermaltake, why? Why me? Nope, that doesn't fit. So you get stuck on this little, the screw that's supposed to be putting in for this is actually getting stuck on. I don't know if I can, no. Well, it's there, but it looks bad. And that's because they have this metal piece here for the shroud, which makes sense for the metal piece, but not really for this. Let me push it back a little bit, see if I can get it to line up. It's not going to screw in 100%, but it's in enough. It's not going to move. And I'm not talking about the graphic card, I'm talking about the metal piece that is stupid, that doesn't really belong there. Oh, you heard the click? It's amazing, because honestly, this microphone I didn't think would pick it up. Take this out. Okay. It's actually staying in there pretty good without it, because it, let me get the screw in at least. This is dumb. Yeah, I won't be able to screw that all the way in. But that's okay, it's just the metal piece that goes for the back. It's not moving, so that's all that matters. It's just to keep it closed from having like a huge hole there, which is stupid. Again, dumb design, but whatever else is new. So power cable here is going to, I'm just going to go this direction for now, but I really want to kind of run that up and underneath the card. For the power connection, you'll see there's like a little piece that comes off of here that gives you from 6 to 8. We have an 8-pin, so we're just going to push this together. It doesn't actually click in this one, which is kind of disappointing. It's a little more disappointing than I thought, but that's all right. Get it in place, and then you're going to line it up with this connection here and plug it in. I'm going to plug in this side because this side's a little easier, it's a little longer. And line up the cable. Wow. There are little grooves on this. It's really hard to see these grooves, but they are there. And you want to position it the right direction and then plug it straight into the card. You should hear a click. That should be all the way in. Make sure it is seated fully, and you want to make sure that the little piece that you added on for the other 2 pins are fully seated down. They should not be coming out at all, so just push it back down. And you want to tuck the rest of the cable away. Oh, we gotta tuck this cable. This cable's not as flexible as it should be. There we go, maybe we'll just do that. I'll just do that for now. I'm just gonna push that back a little bit for now, but really I'd prefer a much better solution to that. Let's get a SATA drive really quickly, just to throw it on here, connect it up so we can actually boot everything and load everything. But yeah, we'll probably have to figure out a better solution for the NVMe drive that they purchased. So we actually put the proper drive in, not the incorrect drive, but we're gonna have to do that for just temporary reasons because we can't go any further without it. So let's just plug in a SATA drive. We'll be right back. 1 second. Oh. SATA drive. All right, I still have a 1 terabyte in stock, luckily. It's the same size. We'll see if they want that instead. I think they'll probably want the NVMe, so I'm gonna have to like figure out a better solution for the board. We may have to return that and switch it out with a different one. Or find out why there is no NVMe on that board to begin with, which is weird. Really, really weird. Okay. So, just the regular SATA drive. I'm going to plug it into the back here. I'm going to show you where it's going. Put this out of here for right now. Over there. Alrighty. Let's move this. All right, downwards. All right, so it's labeled SSD. I think this is reverse for you guys, so it is reverse for me, so it's probably reverse for you. This one's for hard drive. That's not good. This one is for 2.5-inch SSD. This is the one we're going to be using. They have some screws and rubber grommets. We're going to take these out and we're going to screw those into the main drive that we just took out. So we're going to use this. This is probably overkill for this, honestly. You just tape it in there and be fine. But, you know, we're not going to do that. So we're going to line these up. Obviously, this one already has a grommet, so we only need 1, 2, 3. So we need those 3. That's going to line up with 1, 2, and 3 on that side. So flip it back over. We're going to put the little screw through the grommet, and then that's going to screw into the drive, which is a pain. So I'm just going to use my hands for this because using a screwdriver, you may end up stripping the screw. All right. Just enough so it's tight is fine. Boot was coming up. I don't know about that one. Did I put this wrong? No. Oh, the grommet, come on. The grommet piece goes, thicker side goes towards the head of the screw, just so it lines up properly with the hole. And we got one more. This is really overkill for this type of drive. Honestly, there's really no need for like all of these screws. You really don't need 4 of these. This drive is very light. Could be held in with like 1 screw, honestly. But try to do things right around here, even if we're going to probably replace this drive. And yeah, so before we slide this in place, what we want to do is connect the cables, because obviously it's going to be a little harder to get that in there. So pop in the SATA connection. This is the data connection. And then we got power. I'm not going to cable tie these because we are going to literally take this drive back out, and we're going to use a different drive at a later. Ow. Isn't that nice? It's in my way. They put a grommet in my way, and I used it. I mean, a tie down. All right, we'll get that out of my way. We'll deal with that later. So let's put this in here and tie this back a little bit. That is not that much room. Maybe here. That's a little better. This is a really bad spot. All right, there we go. So that's in there. This is not the most nice looking. I'm gonna disconnect this and then put this back the other way. Just slide this under here or something. There we go. It's a little bit less poofy this direction. There we go, and it'll stay better. Just for now. This is, again, very temporary. We're not going to keep that drive in there, so we're just going to boot with it and load with it, but we will swap it later. Okay. Oh. All right. Now, that literally turned off on me. Thank you. Camera's off, yeah. Anyway, hopefully you saw what I was doing back here. I just basically readjusted this and readjusted this to slide underneath this power cable. That's all it really is. You know, this is again very temporary, so I'm just gonna leave that there. We're gonna boot up now, so we're gonna connect it to the graphic card. That's the most important one. You don't want to connect it to the one on the motherboard because the one on the motherboard will not work. Obviously, with a graphic card plugged in and a processor that does require a graphic card to operate. So we're gonna switch over to main view for a sec. I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm gonna do quick connections here, and then we will give it a boot and see if it works, and we will load up the operating system and the BIOS and all that wonderful stuff. It's HDMI, power, and we need a keyboard and mouse, which I put over here somewhere. Yeah, there we go. So one little note, the power cord itself, like all the rest of the power cords and stuff like that, that should really be put back in the case. You should put it at the bottom of the case, tie it into the bottom of the case, especially if you're going to use it later. You'll want to keep that, and you don't want to have to lose all your power connections. So be sure to have that put at the bottom. I am not showing that on camera, but it should be just something you should just do. So connecting up the keyboard right now, and then we're going to connect up I'm going to power it up and show the screen and go through that. So let's flip to the screen in a minute. You'll also need a USB flash drive. I have the BIOS, the Windows 11 installation, and the drivers all on one USB flash drive disk. So we're going to use this one drive. I already made this drive. I think in one other video I did actually show how to do that. So you can go back to that one if you want to know how to make a disk. And what screen is that? 4. So let's go over to 4. Let's put me up over here. There we go. And let's power it on. Hopefully nothing breaks. And we'll see. Okay. And here we go. So it's booting. Just going to go on the BIOS. I'm just hitting the delete key to go to the BIOS. Hopefully it's registering. There we go. All right, so let's make this bigger so I can actually see what I'm doing. There we go. All right. So it brings you to the more simple screen. From here, let me put myself down here. From here, you can kind of see it. Just double check to make sure your processor is correct. Make sure you have the total amount of RAM is correct. If you want, you can check to make sure you have the CPU settings, the fan settings are correct, all that stuff. You don't want to make too many changes until you update your BIOS, because the BIOS is going to flash out the system and it's going to reset all your settings. So let's do an advanced mode, which is function F6, which is F6. There we go. For advanced mode, I'm just going to jump into that for a second. We're going to go over to the flash utility, wherever that is. Did I pass it? All right, let's find it together. Flash, there it is. So you want to do instant flash. You have the flash drive in. It's going to find that flash drive. The flash drive, I put the BIOS in the main folder, so it makes it a little easier to find. Now it's going to give you a little warning about encryption and BitLocker. This is a brand new machine, so there should be no reason to worry about this, so we're going to continue. But if you do have BitLocker, to be on the safe side, I recommend removing BitLocker, unencrypting the drive, doing your BIOS update, and then re-encrypting the drive just in case, so you don't have to worry about a recovery key. But if you have your recovery key and you feel very good about this, go forward and feel like you can go without a problem. All right, so I found the drive, I found the update, so it's going to update it. It says, are you sure? Like, why don't we just ask yes again? After pressing enter, it'll reboot. Okay, so it's just going to do a little quick reboot, and it's going to update the BIOS. Now, during this time, the screen's going to probably go black on you for a few seconds. The power is going to act kind of funny. Just leave it. Don't touch anything. Do not touch the power button. Do not touch anything else. Let it do its thing. Stand back. Let it do its thing. It's going to flash through this. Now, another little problem that you may run into is power. Make sure that you are either on a UPS battery or you are not, or you have continuous power during this time. Because if you lose power during a flash of a BIOS, some motherboards will no longer be working. You're going to basically what we call bricking a motherboard. That would be really bad. You'll have to send it back for RMA and a whole bunch of other garbage. So just be careful and make sure not doing this during like a lightning storm, or if you're worried about a power outage. This is not the time to be doing this. You should be doing this when you have stable power and or maybe connected to a UPS battery. This does take a few seconds. Once this is done, that would be good. Let me put myself back to the other one for a second. Okay. Yep. Now after this is flashed, it's going to reboot. Once it reboots, you're going to get, you know, again, weird stuff that's going to happen. You're going to see the lights flash. You're going to see the fans ramp up and ramp down. This is normal. Just ignore it. It's fine. Once you get into when you get into like building the operating, like actually installing the operating system, you'll have a little bit more fan control and stuff like that. All that stuff will come back. So, oh, this has an RGB light on top of the GPU. That's interesting. It's actually kind of nice. It's not that bad looking. All right, once this is done, see, you're going to see this black screen a lot. This is normal. That's okay. Once it does reboot, try to hit the delete key. You want to make sure you go into the BIOS. You don't want to boot onto this drive yet until you have everything updated. So you want to make sure to go back in the BIOS, double check to make sure you are on the most current BIOS, which it says up at the top, 12.03. So you are on the most current at the current time. And yeah, that's all you got to really do for the BIOS at this point, except for the date and time, which is incorrect. It is the 6th. Yeah, the 6th. And it is 7/13, 1913. Why am I having a hard time adding today? I don't know. Oh, 19. 13. What the hell? Oh. All right. Apply. Okay, and okay. So, yeah, 7/13, right? I'm horrible with military time. All right, that's good to go. At this point, you want to just make sure your RAM is correct. The RAM is correct. The XMP profile is not set. We're not going to set that right now. We're just going to leave auto, and we will fix that up later. I really want to get the operating system loaded. Usually if you're going to choose an XMP profile, you should also do a full RAM test, like a MEM test, and run it fully through. So at this point, let's go back to the advanced section. I want to make sure our boot device is set correctly. So we're going to hit F6, and we're going to go over to boot, and we're going to boot off the flash drive. I don't know why there's two partitions, but that's just one partition. We're not going to do fast boot yet. You could turn that on later. When the system's up and running, I kind of like to do that later. Just when the system's really fully finished, because just in case you got to get back into the BIOS, with fast boot on, it makes it really difficult to get back into the BIOS with just pushing the delete key. So it is a little harder. Now, this one already has Windows 11 on it. It should boot into Windows 11. If everything goes smoothly. Or maybe it was partition 2. Nope, there it goes. So we get the little circle. That means we're going to load up Windows 11. We should have a mouse. Yes, we do. Choose your language. Choose your keyboard input. I mean, it's common sense drop-down stuff. Click Install. And we're going to choose that drive that we have connected. I'm going to say I don't have a product key for now, but you should enter your product key if you have one. We're going to do Windows 11 Pro because that's what the customer purchased. We're going to apply. Yes. Custom. Next. And we're just going to use the whole drive. Now, if you have a server, you may, or if you have a system where you want to partition a drive, you can go back there and partition a certain amount of space and then select that partition space. I don't recommend that for workstations just because there's really no need at this point in time. It's not going to make it any more efficient, especially on an NVMe drive or an SSD drive. It's not going to make any difference. Not for right now. For speed purposes. For separation of data might be important, just if you want to have a secondary drive or a secondary partition for that. I recommend a secondary drive. That will actually help you with more speed, because a secondary drive you could also disconnect, just in case you don't want to have to erase your drive. If you have to, let's say, reformat at some point in time, you can leave that drive disconnected during the reformat. That is a benefit of having two drives. Let me put myself back up in this corner here because I don't know my logo. This is a very boring process. You're just going to watch the numbers go. It's going to install everything. If you don't want to create a Microsoft account, I would recommend you not have the internet connected at this point in time, which I do not. I do not plug in the Ethernet cable, and that is so that we don't have to create a Microsoft account. We could just create a regular Windows account. Okay, I'm going to restart now. Now, normally, when you install Windows, it's going to switch your boot order to the Windows Boot Manager after this. So the Windows Boot Manager will then handle the booting, not the USB flash drive. As you just see now, I left the USB flash drive plugged in, but it is actually booting off the main drive. Because it says getting ready, it's doing other things. It's not coming up with the setup installation. Now, if it does come up with the setup installation, you gotta go back to the BIOS and change the boot order to be the Windows boot drive and not the flash drive. Got all these screws over here. Let's put that out of the way. There we go. This will take a minute to go. This would be a little faster on an NVMe drive, so we might have to still switch that out, but for now purposes, we're in Windows, I think. One more reboot. Now it's going to go probably through the setup wizard. Yeah, here it goes. I usually try to answer the little amount of information as possible here, just to keep it simple. Okay, just choose United States, of course. Again, I don't understand why they ask you twice, where literally we just did this. You can skip the keyboard layouts. I'm just going to say I don't have internet. I am lying to it, but whatever. Continue with limited setup, which will give you just a regular Windows user. We're just going to label this one B1, just for boot once. We're not going to put a password for right now, just to keep it simple. Hi, we're getting everything ready for you. That's what it's going to say. Yeah, getting things ready for you. Wonderful. In other words, it's changing all the privacy settings that I didn't want, probably, and installing a bunch of junk I probably don't want. Welcome to Windows and Microsoft. Alright, during this time, you could probably organize your desk at this point. You're not going to have to worry about if the machine gets turned off accidentally. You could also just rearrange everything, maybe close up the case if you want. Or you could just wait till it's done and then shut it down properly and, you know, close the case up. This will take a few minutes. It's so polite. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Microsoft's very polite when it wants something from you. All right, so this is loaded up. It's going to come up to this screen. It's going to try to install stuff, but I don't have an Ethernet cable connected yet. It'll probably do that in a few seconds when I do connect it. But I'm going to do drivers first. So I already put the drivers on this disk, so I could just go over to the disk. And I can go to my drivers folder, copy that, and go to the C drive. I always like to copy it to the drive first. It does install a little faster from the main drive. I make a folder called B1, which is our company, and then paste over. And you'll see it copies pretty quick. There's not that many drivers. Our B1 folder stuff doesn't belong here. It belongs in the B1 folder. Let's move that out there. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to install the drivers. So on the drivers itself, we're going to install the chipset drivers as well as the graphic card driver. I already downloaded GeForce Experience. We're going to use that to download the most current driver. We're going to install here. We're going to do I usually do the chipset first. Now it's going to say you can't reach out to Smart Screen because I don't have the Ethernet adapter connected. That's okay, just run it. It's fine, it's safe. I've already scanned this on a different computer. I've already downloaded the driver, scanned it, made sure it's verified, it's all good. Next, just go through the next engine. Now, what we're going to do is move on to the next driver, extract all, repeat the process. This is for the audio. Oops. Down, setup, run it. You're going to get that same error. It's okay, just pass it. I say error, but it's not really an error. Just, it can't check it. LAN driver, same thing. Yeah. Audio requires more clicking for no reason. LAN driver, extract, go for it. No, we don't want to restart the computer. We're going to put the LAN driver in, set it up, run it, run it. Come on. Okay. Install it. Nope, I don't want to restart yet. We're going to do the NVIDIA driver next, but that's going to require internet. So actually, let's do a quick reboot before we get that going. Leaves every window open. All right, finish. And we're just going to do a quick restart. When installing drivers or software, you're going to make a lot of reboots. So just, you know, you might want to get a cup of coffee or something to drink and we'll just relax because it's going to take time. We're also going to have to do Windows updates. I'm going to connect the Ethernet adapter at this point. Let's get the cable connected. So just an Ethernet adapter, and I'm just going to plug it straight into the back of the motherboard. If I can get in there, there we go. And eventually it will pop online. While it's doing that, I'm going to install the NVIDIA graphic card driver, which is not here. Oh, this ASRock thing, this automatic installer driver. Do not install this. This is just scary in itself. I'm gonna have to go to the BIOS to get to turn that off, so I will do that eventually. Let me go back in. Let me install the last driver for GeForce before Microsoft decides to install its own driver, which I don't want it to do. I try to use the ones from the manufacturers. This is an NVIDIA graphic card, that's why I'm using the one from NVIDIA. The motherboard is a ASRock, so I went to ASRock's website, downloaded every driver that I needed for an ASRock motherboard. And the LAN driver and all that stuff is directly on the board, so you don't have to, you know, it's part of the chipset driver. Now, GeForce Experience, NVIDIA requires you to log in. We're going to use our login just for temporary purposes. Hopefully, I won't have too many issues. Yeah. That is a good question what our login is. We will definitely need it though. So let's see. Let's see. I'm just gonna look it up on a different computer. And I have the wrong mouse. Oh, it's on a code thing. Maybe we might be able to do this. All right, let me switch back to me for a second. Yeah, let me just put back this way. And I'm just gonna log in. Unfortunately, there's no reason for you guys to know what our login is. Not that it really matters too much. And a stupid security garbage. It's 2FA. Okay, so let's go back. Sorry about that, guys. Let's put myself over there. No driver found, of course. Now this happens once in a while. That means that it was using something else. So let's just hit check for updates again, hit download. It'll actually go through, and Microsoft One loads like an older NVIDIA driver, which is real junk. So be sure to just overwrite it with this one. AMD kind of does the same thing where like Microsoft loads like an older AMD driver. You'll want to do a fresh install or remove that driver and then reinstall. Now the AMD software finally caught up and you can do that with just one click, but it used to be a real pain and it was real difficult to remove and then reinstall. But we're good at this point, so we're just going to wait for that NVIDIA driver to go in. When you do, anytime you install a graphic card driver, you're going to see the screen blink. It's going to blink once or twice. That's normal. Just accept it. It's fine. It's not dying on you or anything or doing something weird. It's just typical. Install the driver. And is the time correct? Yeah, the time's correct. Then we're going to remove some of the Windows installation stuff that it probably is installing in the back. Yeah, it installed all this garbage, which we're going to remove that with 1 or 2 little clicks of the mouse with our script. But we will do that after we get the graphic card driver installed. Try to, what you want to do is try to make sure that you like do the bloatware removal last, because it's going to install a whole bunch of stuff and it'll probably reinstall that junk. So you don't want to have to run it twice. I mean, you can, nothing's going to hurt it, but you want to make sure that all the updates are kind of pushed. And yeah, I'm kind of pushing updates at the same time I'm doing the NVIDIA driver. That should be okay, because it shouldn't be doing any drivers that are going to conflict. No, it's just framework. Now you see that's the blink I'm talking about. It's going to black out the graphic card driver for a second. That is normal. Just leave it. Now it's going to ask to restart. We're going to restart later, but we really should reboot soon. So don't run any like applications or anything until you get everything installed and everything rebooted at least once. All right, this is installing. It's going to take a minute. Downloading. Come on. Now, since we have a high-end graphic card, or at least a decent graphic card, if you have a really good monitor, you'll want to bring the hertz up on your monitor. To do that, you could right-click anywhere in the desktop area, click on Display Settings, and then you want to go down to, where is it? Advanced, and you want to choose your refresh rate and bring it all the way up to whatever hertz that you can possibly go to. Obviously, this monitor that I'm connected to is outputting for a stream. It is locked to 60 hertz, but if you have a much better monitor, you'll want to go in here, set this higher. If you have like 120 hertz or 240 or something, you'll want to flip that to the higher hertz. That'll give you a better moving refresh rate. So whenever you move something, it won't get you that ghosting effect. It'll be a lot more smoother. Now, if I do this, you're going to see a little bit of ghosting. That's going to probably drive you guys nuts. That is because we're at 60 hertz, but there's no other way to do this because my capture is only at 60 hertz. So it's maxed out at the current time. But if you have a better monitor, yeah, definitely do that. Crickets, at least once. I don't get the crickets. What do we mean by crickets? At least one? Is my volume, is my microphone down or something? Is that what people are saying about crickets? No, it's not. No, it's on. Yeah, this is taking forever. Well, it's almost done. I mean, I'm very impatient, so come on. Yeah, while that's going, we could set up some other options. We can go right click and hit taskbar settings. I want to turn off widgets and chat. And I usually turn off the search bar. I like the task view. That's okay. It's not too bad. Other system tray icons. Not really important. Taskbar behavior. I usually put this back left for most people unless they request to put it back to the center. Crickets to the long silence. All right. Well, maybe I must have sat here for a while. Show badges on taskbar apps. Yeah, all this stuff is fine. The only thing that really changes is left because the center, most people don't like the center. If they're coming from Windows 10, they kind of like it back to the left. I also turn off the Windows Store. I also get rid of Edge. I usually put in whatever the customer wants. In this case, I think they use Chrome. So we just use Edge to download Chrome, which is kind of pointless. Google.com/Chrome. Don't check that. We don't need that. And where is it? Did it download? No. Okay, really? We're gonna do this. They made this more complicated for something that should not be this complicated. Did it download? It downloaded. Why doesn't it show anymore? I think they purposely do this just to like not have you install Chrome or Firefox. Anyway, I'll let that download and install, and then we're going to do a quick reboot. Why would you install more than one? For what reason? Well, you wouldn't install more than one driver, but you could install more than one browser if that's what you're talking about. The browser, you could have multiple browsers on one machine. I recommend Firefox, but you could use whatever you want. I just like Firefox better. Chrome is a little bit heavy on the RAM. It's not unacceptable though. It's still good. I wouldn't use Edge. Edge is also built on Chrome anyways. It's built on Chromium. So Chromium is the underlying, you know, web browser, technically speaking. So, you know, you're basically using the same thing if you're using Chrome. Mozilla has its own, you know, browser portion engine, so that's something totally different. Now, if you want to use Edge, you can use Edge. Edge is defaultly installed if you want. That's from Microsoft, so anything you use in there is going to be pretty much sent to Microsoft. But then again, if you use Chrome, everything's going to be sent to Google. So, you know, it depends who you're using it for. Now, Firefox, same thing. It's going to probably be sent to Firefox. All right, we're at 95. Ugh. At least they give you a percentage this time. Okay. All right, now we're loaded. We're going to take out Edge, just unpin it. We're going to open up Chrome again because it's going to require that we set it as the default browser. I don't know why this is taking so long. Well, it's loading something. Oh, it's still loading something. Okay. And it's loading Teams and a whole bunch of garbage. All right, so did I double click Chrome? Okay, so when you open up Chrome, it's going to ask you, do you want to set it as default? Yes. We're going to go down to Google Chrome. We're going to say set default, and it's going to change all those. Now, I didn't change the ones for PDF, so switch anyway. And make this more complicated than it really needs to be. I don't know why they won't just switch everything at the same time. Mail, that's okay, we can leave that. For now, close, close. All right, now we're gonna get rid of all this junk because that's a pain. So we're gonna open up Windows PowerShell, run it as administrator. If you're curious about all the directions for how to run this utility which we made, which I say utility, but it's just a script, you can check out our other video that has everything on how to run the Windows 11 removal tool. There we go. So once you're in here, you're just going to basically type out how to run it. You're going to run this little command here, which is that. Switch it, run it all, and then we're going to run remove loadware. And you just sit back and relax and wait for it to remove almost everything. It's going to get rid of a lot of the Xbox stuff, everything else. Again, you can watch the other video that has a full explanation of how this runs, and it'll also disable some of the telemetry garbage for you as well. Now, it took out some of it. The problem is these are not really installed. These are programs that could be installed, but they're click installs, so you can click them and they install. We're just going to remove them. It says uninstall, but it actually doesn't uninstall anything. It's just too quick to actually be saying it uninstalls something. It's not actually installed, it's just click to install. We don't really want the customer to have to worry about clicking on something that they didn't really want in the first place. They can also reinstall these programs by going to those specific websites, or they can go through the Windows Web Store. I also don't like this recommended. I kind of like to change this to more. No, I'm on the wrong thing. No, not test manager. I want Start settings. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing here. Start settings. I want more pins and I want less recommendations. So it's a little less garbage. And that's a little cleaned up. So now we got less programs installed. We can also go now into programs and feature installed apps, and we can double check to see if there's anything kind of just hanging out here that we don't want. Everything looks okay for now. Close PowerShell. And now we got all the drivers loaded. The system's pretty much ready to go. Now, usually you would activate Windows. I can't activate Windows online because obviously I'm going to have to show the product key for that, and that's not no-no. So that is obviously for the customer's use, not for you guys. So you would activate your Windows, make sure to run more updates, get everything updated, patched, and you could start installing your programs. At this point, you're done for the main operating system. System's ready to go, and you know, you can load up the rest of the software that you might need. So I'm gonna just shut this down for a sec. Shut it down. Let me switch it back. So that's basically how to load Windows, and you know, how to load everything on a system, get it from start to finish. I didn't get a chance to show you guys an NVMe installation, but I did show you guys a SATA installation this time around. It's still the same drive size, a little bit slower speed drive, but it's fine. For right now, we're probably going to replace that. Graphic card install went pretty well, and yeah, we will see you guys in the next one. I'm going to close the stream, and have a great day. See ya.